This week, we are tackling ethics in public relations. So what is ethics? Ethics is normally a principle or a moral rule that govern your behavior. A principle or a moral rule govern a person's behavior while conducting an activity is termed as ethics. So ethics can also be termed as a branch of knowledge that deals with moral principles. So we want to look that in regards to PR. What are those moral things that we are supposed to do? So ethics is something that is widely talked about by so many people, and we can begin with Socrates. Philosophy has talked much about ethics, and with it is the way of living. That is what Socrates in regard to ethics. So now let us narrow down ourselves. P is ethics. It is a philosophy that deals with issues of right and wrong human affairs. It deals with right and wrong in regard to human affairs. So hiyo ndio chenye tunaangalia in the PR department normally is regarded to be right. So ethics tu ni pia venye tu nimeanza nisema, we talk about ethics, we basically emphasize that it is best to be honest, or there is a saying, there is honesty is the best policy. Instead of making propaganda most of the time, just learn to be honest. That is what PR calls for, because you are going to most of the things on behalf of the corporate firm. That's why we say that ethics is very important. So another definition of ethics can be described as a standard or conduct and behavior based moral duties and virtues derived from the principle of right or wrong. So let me move directly to what is expected of us, which is the codes of professional conduct. So in a code is also a rule of the way you are supposed to behave as an individual. So a code of professional conduct is only valuable if only provided and it's effective in regulating conduct of professionals in the world. So like in the PR department, we have close to so far I know 3 or 4 codes that have evolved through the practice. So I may give examples like the codes of Athens of National Public Relations Association of 1965. But one thing with this code, it was later modified in 1968. So you found out that in the Code of Athens, it emphasized on human rights, but it left other things that public relations basically address. That is why during the modification, people thought otherwise, and another PR group, another PR was later made, which that one now was the code practice of the British Institute of Public Relations, whereby now this one is the one that is working in most countries. You find that members in the Court of Britain are elected, selected the court. After somebody has been elected to the court, there is now representation. Besides representation, when any member who is a member of the code of practice does something wrong, there is always a way of solving that issue. So you find a committee, it has a council also, it has very serious matters. But remember that one the British Institute. So far so good. More were developed, whereby in 1990 and 1991 we had public relations consultants association, which again came with that the British Institute did place. So what is this in play? So you find in the PR industry products, we are talking about the image of a farm. The reason why we put these codes in place is to avoid imagery, is to avoid copying, is to avoid somebody who plays two scripts. For a farm, he is very neat and very formal. Akitoka tu hivi, sasa yeye ndio anasemwa hapo nje, so yeye ndiye ana trend. So the code of practice to live in a holistic way. So let us start with what the code expects us to be. So this topic is basically about public relations. So I think history is very important. I just have to go straight to the point. What are codes and the way you should understand it. So that's why I brought as fast as codes towards the practice of public relation. So code 1 has around 4 points under it. So 1.1, member shall have positive duty to observe the highest standard of peace and deal fair and honest the employer. So that is the first thing. Highest standard of public relation. You have to deal fairly and honest to your employer na ule chana naye, tulifutwa kwa hiyo kampuni ne. Ama kama haukufuta uliacha umeenda another one, you have to treat both employers with respect. So examples of employers ndio hiyo hapo, kuna professionals, tuko na intermediaries. So you know examples, kwa nikisema offer examples of intermediaries, other professions of employees, and above all the publics that we discussed last week. So this one in short, you respect all public that surround you as a peer practitioner. Number 2, be aware of, understand and observe this code and any amendment to it. So number 1, you should be aware of code of peer, understand them, and in case there are any changes, an amendment is always a slight change of a rule. You should be fast with it. So remain up to date with the content and any recommendation in regard to the codes of peer. 1.3, uphold this code to cooperate with fellow members to force decision on any matter arising from its application. So that means the codes of PR, you should be like an ambassador of the codes of PR, be a PR practitioner, and you should put in practice any matter arising from the code. Any member who knowingly causes his or her staff to act in an inconsistent with the code is subject to such action and shall be deemed to be in breach of this code. So hiyo ni typing error hapo, imeandikwa breach of this code instead of breach. Breach mmefanya law, mnajua break the law in place. So natuambia along with this code, and if you cause yourself or your staff to act against this code, remember you have broken the law. Any staffs employed by a member who act in a manner that is inconsistent with this code should be disciplined by the member. So tuseme wewe ndo public relations manager, umeaya watu hapo chini, wakikosea this association is supposed to penalize them. Doreen, Mary is getting right. You from the end, things are working. A member shall not engage in any practice, nor be seen to conduct himself or herself in any manner detriment to the reputation of the institution and interest of the public. So here you should note something detrimental is something against what your requires. From side amniski ama ni nini? So I was talking about what a member should not do, and that is not as per the standard, which can reputation of an institution required. So we move to second, okay, conduct towards the public. Like what should a PR practitioner, how should a PR practitioner behave toward the public, media, and other professions? Number one, a member shall conduct his or her professional activity with proper regard to the public interest. So take care of your member, and that's it. 2.2, have a positive duty all times to respect the truth and shall not disseminate false or misleading information. So that means number one, all times 24/7 a week, you should always tell the truth. Now, do not give out any wrong information, either knowingly or unknowingly, and therefore take care to check all the information that you're giving to them. That is point 2.2. Then we have point 2.3 under the code towards the public. Have a duty to ensure that the actual interest of any organization which he or she be professionally concerned is adequately clear. So that means, again, any organization that your client must come into contact with, like ndio publics wa huyo client mwenye amekuja kuomba PR ensure unazielewa vizuri. 2.4 when working in association within association with other professionals, identify and respect the code of those professions. So you are working with other persons in place. Remember, wewe ni mtu wa PR department. You can come into contact with doctors, teachers, etc. Respect other codes of other professions. Us have KMPDU. Teach work on a NAT. Respect the rule of those other professions. 2.5 respect any statutory or regulatory code laid down by any other authorities which are relevant to the actions of his or her employer or client or can on behalf of the employer or the client. So rules and regulations are always there. Respect the rules and regulations that govern an employer. Also respect rules and regulations that may regulate an employer. Mwenye amekuja kuomba PR. 2.6 ensure the name of directors, executives, and retained advisors of his or her employers who hold public office are members of either House of Parliament, local authorities, or statutory organization or body are recorded with the International Public Relations Register. That one is also a code. Names of your directors, your executives of your company, any advisors of your company should be recorded by either the parliament ya kwenu, local authorities, we used to have the local government, sahi tuko county level, and above all, International Public Relations Register. Your bosses should be known. Next, honor confidence received or given because of professionalism. So learn to be confidential in regard to professionalism. Secrecy is required. 2.8 neither propose nor undertake or force an employer or client to propose or undertake any action which could be improper, influence on the government, legislation, public office, media, statutory bodies. For example, usikue an influencer that will make somebody be against to the government, legislation, rules that are put in place, holders of public office, statutory bodies, and even media. That is it. Never go against or incite somebody to against the laws of the land, laws of an office, and so on. So that is conduct towards the public, media, and other profession. The third code of PR addresses conduct towards your fellow employees or the employees below you and even the clients that will come in your establishment to seek help. A member shall safeguard the confidence of both present and former employee or client and should not disclose or use this confidence to the disadvantage or prejudice of the employer, client, or financial advantage. So the information your current employer or your former employer shared with you about the secrecy of his or her company and do not shy for some advantage. Yenye mpata. 3. Inform an employer or client of any shareholding or financial interest held by that member or any staff employed by that member in any company or person who he or she recommends. So you can inform the employer or a client who has come to you services, or even a financial company of the member of that person who is employed. So this one basically comes in that category whereby huyu mtu in a layman's language, wacha niseme hivi, tunafanya na wewe kazi. I am your boss. So ninataka kuacha kazi kwako niende kwingine. Na nilikuwa nimechukua nikifanya kwa kampuni yako. So as I leave, tunataka tunaandana tukisikana na unaminia niambia huyo the other employer that akona loan ana ili maisha ya mtu iendelee. So in PR. Then next, be free to negotiate or renegotiate with our client terms that are fair reflection of demands of the work. So the PR industry is wide. It will be once a week, once a month. You will work for 8 hours that is recommended for the labels. But at times, working may expand be doing other activities because your major duty is to maintain the corporate image. So be free to talk with your employer. Kama mtu anakuajiri, mwambie. Kama ni client amekuja anataka PR functions, be free kumexplainia PR si mimi kuja hapa saa 2 na ninatoka saa 6. Kwa siku, I might be required to send my duties so that I level the complexity of the PR department in the following ways. A. The complexity of the issue is problem and difficulties associated with coding. So that the employer learn how tough that thing can be. Maybe it is a problem you are solving. Maybe you are planning to launch a product. Maybe you are planning for a community event. Let the employer understand basically what you are trying to do. B. The professional specialized skills required and the degree of responsibility required. So be free again to share the professional and specialized skill that will be required for that product, for that activity, and the responsibility required, of which unaweza kuwa unataka more staff on board to help you in the PR program. You could even require more time, more expansion of the budget, explain on the importance of it. C. The amount of information necessary to be pursued or prepared on its importance. So you find each PR activity has its own documentation process. Ukifanya corporate responsibility kusaidia local community, resources zitakuwa different from time unafanya product launch, from the time unafanya maybe negative publicity imefanywa. All these things require different documents and different resources. Be able to explain to your client or employee. D. The place and circumstance where the work is carried out in whole and part. So I will explain to him or her where you are going to work. Where you will be working in the office, whether you are going to examination, and whether you will be changing lecture so that publics that you are targeting to get that information can get them correctly. Remember, times I have to kwenda kwa ground kuongelesha watu. You will be even required to do heavy PR programs through advertising kwa television. And remember, ukifanya PR program kwa the television, huwa unaongea, explain video. The more you time on air, the more you will pay for the time. So be free to negotiate with your employer over such things. Then lastly, E, the scope, scale, and value of the task, as important as activity, issue, or project the employer or client. So the scope one, how wide or how deep something go. The scale pia ni length. So some activities can be very wide, some activities can be very tasking. Remember to share this information with your employer, with your client, ndio aelewe what you are basically doing. So that is conduct towards employee and clients. Above all, a member shall not, point 5, misuse information regarding his employer or client for business, financial gain. So usitumie information your employer kupea for financial or business gain. 2, use inside information for gain. So don't pick information from the company for personal gain. Hata nilikapata hii kampuni wako wanaweza kufanya ABCD. Niliingia. Siku hizi si unaona hata wauza, hata watu wanakuja hapo. Unaona? Don't search like this. Ukiona hiyo kazi uwezani na left. 3.7, serve an employer or client terms and conditions which impair his or her independence, objectivity or integrity. Hiyo ndio nimesema, ukisikia kazi imekufika kwa roho, kindly ukiona zile kindly resign, because when you work correctly where public relations organization wanaona wewe you are a professional mwenyewe. So ukisikia fika penye huwezani nayo, something that impair your clients independence, objectives, and even integrity to the public space. 3.8, represent, a member shall not conflicting interest, but they represent competing interests which express consent of parties concerned. So you are supposed to represent competing interest. Vitu zina compete, ideas zina compete, so that the company can get more profits. Present to the public, interests are conflicting. In a ni ukue officer na Serena na we ni PR officer Saro panafap. Are brands on their own, and the Serena's brands on their own, the others are brands on their own. So unaenda unaona vizuri ndio PR wa Serena. Then tena PR officer wa Sarokezea, it is you. Those ones are conflicting ideas. But you can be a PR officer of the sales. By kitu ikienda mra ama we are doing positive thing like act launch wa Serena. I can see you in Nairobi Serena. I will see you in Mombasa Serena. I will see Sweet Waters in Nungi and even the Mara Serena. So the same, both Serenas and Sarah are working towards one direction, but they are different brand companies. But work for one company with interest hand. 3.9, the achievement of results which are beyond the members' direct capacity to prevent. So you wewe boss are manage results zenye public relations officers watakuwa wamefanya hapa kazi kwa ground, accept juu unajua the nature of this work. So guarantee achievement. Please accept a work well done. Because some can be positive, while some we can be working for our best, but they come out negative. We move to code 4. Conduct towards fellow employees, colleagues, when you go now at the same cadre. So I'm a public relations officer. You are a public relations officer. You are are a public relations officer. You are a public relations officer. I am a public relations officer. What at the same level. A member 4.1. Adhere to highest standard of accuracy and truth. Adhere to highest standard of accuracy and truth. Avoiding extravagant claims or comparisons and giving credits for ideas and words borrowed from us. So be truthful, be honest. Avoid extreme claims with unfair comparisons. Ukisema you are better than this person, or this person is better than this other person. You know, this world we normally say, when you compare yourself to somebody, you are highly insulting yourself. So in short, hapa what unasema, try to make yourself better. But usikwe unatafuta credit that who better than who. Instead, jijenge. Kama ni kazi tunafanya, stop mambo mingi. Kazi inafanywa vizuri, give a tick where it is required and move on. Not time ati tunaenda tunakaa huko kando tunaanza kudiscuss kitu. 4.2. Free to represent his or her capabilities and serve to any potential employer or client. Or initiative or at the behest of any client provided. In so, he or she does not seek to break any existing tract or detract from the reputation or capabilities. In a layman's language, kuna zile kampuni zenye ukiwafanyia zile unaambia usifanyie kwingine. If you are working for me, just work for me. The PR code inasema, patia staff wako that power. If they can work for a company without affecting the reputation of the company enye sahi ya komu, give them that chance to do it. That one is where he or she can grow. A member shall not injure professional reputation or practice of another member. So nisikuje niseme Faye hajui PR. In fact, tunaweka ile product launch, anaulizwa na mgeni hajui. So do not injure the reputation of your fellow colleague. The last part of interpreting the code, the constitution of the land will always apply. So remember, hii code of conduct tumeitoa from the Britain Institute of Public Relations. That is where to meta code that guides practitioner. Interpretation of each and every part, the constitution of the land shall apply. Inamaanisha Umebreach tuseme nimeenda nikapaint faith negatively kwa public. We will have to constitution tuone what does the Constitution of Kenya apply under defamation. Inaele nini? Nikidefame faith, what is supposed to be done to me? Sijaeleweka? You understood? So I can see one person only ajibu. People are just online here to give us. So we have BAIE, Code of Professional Conduct. The meaning of BAIE ni British Association of Industrial Editors of 1988 to 1989. So this one, the British Association of Industrial Editors have created 7 commandments that apply to house journal editors. So I guess hapa kila mtu anajua what is a journal. Huwa ni kitu tu inaandikwa maybe for a monthly session, kitu kama hiyo, by a company. So it has 7 commandments that govern house journal editor. A house journal editor ni wale editors wameajiriwa na kampuni. So you can find in a company where you are working, like you have even 2 editors, 3 editors, and so much more. Like in the media industry, we can be having so many editors because the work can be very gross. So these are the 7 commandments that govern editors. Na sisemi ati sasa in our industry hakuna editors. Wako, they write about the hotel and they keep on changing brochures, they keep on changing hizo books za hoteli, touristic destination and so on. So we have people who write about the company. So even when we have a PR officer in our tourist organization, watakuwa wanaandika something about the company just to paint a good image for customers to continue streaming in. So these are the commandments of editors. Number 1, integrity of communication. That means members should make effort not to publish any false information. Integrity of communication. Please don't publish any false information about the company. Unataka kutuambia hii touristic organization kuna elephant, na mtu atakaa hapo hivyo asubuhi mpaka jioni hata siku 3 akikuja na hakuna. Please don't lie. Be honest. Number 2, confidential information is the second commandment. That means members are given or should obtain information in confidence during the course of their professional activities. Members should be given or should obtain information in confidence during their professional duties, and do not disclose the information umepata to somebody else. So that is the power of secrecy. Third commandment is injury to members. Don't injure your colleague. Nimepeana example na Faith. nisiende nichome Faith because Faith is my fellow practitioner. Akikosea, if I cannot, Mungu nifundishe kunyamaza, you do what? You can correct him or her in the best way possible. Number 4 is reputation. Go and wash. Number 4 is reputation of the profession. 4th commandment. Members shall not conduct themselves in a manner that may affect the reputation of the company, both internally and externally. That one is also very important. Hapa ndio unapata sasa kuna conflict of interest when we are launching something, then unapata kwamba hata mnapigana huko. So avoid anything that might be detrimental or might spoil the reputation of your profession. Number 5, meet legal requirement. The 5th commandment is you are supposed to meet legal requirement. So legal requirements are like rules that are inside the institution. Sana sana kama editors, huwa mna rule kama publish. Remember, publishing has rules. Watu kuna ile kitu inaitwa copyright, watu inaitwa libel. You publish naifai kuwa iko copied. I can only paraphrase what Mary said. Na huwa wiweka, mnafunzwa research, mnaonyeshwa venye we normally write what somebody said, quote vizuri. But usitumie words za mtu kujenga kia. So you must meet legal requirements when it comes to publishing of books. Kuna ukiangalia kitabu inakuanga na copyright, kitabu iko na edition, if somebody edited it, these ones are all rules in the constitution of the land. You're supposed to know them. Kitabu yako, uanike kitabu yako watu waanze kusoma, or else unaweza shikwa. So meet legal requirement. 6th commandment, breaches of this code. If you break the codes that we have been discussing, kama ni the British Code of Conduct, utapeleka disciplinary. So when you break rules, there are protocols that are supposed to be followed. So editors are advised to know which code you are following, ni ile ya International Public Relations ama ni ya the Institute of Britain. And when you breach the codes, you know how the rules will take place. Lastly, you should uphold the code. Uphold the code is popote penye uko ni kama unaimba. It is just like the national line in Kenya. Wherever you have any official duty, a national anthem must be sung. Therefore, whenever you want to practice PR, you must put all those codes in place to regulate you.